What is up, NFL fans? It is your boy, Kevin Phillip Fox at the Buffalo Trill, and I'm here with the Pro Football Demon himself. We're here for the Fantasy Football Q&A show for Legit Football. Mr. Demon, how the hell are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you? How's everything?
Doing phenomenal, man. My Bills are keeping their heads above water barely, so that's whatever state they're in, how they go, that's how I go. So my head is barely above water. But we're looking forward to a great slobber knocker of a game on Sunday. And the Jets they're staying alive, Demon.
They're staying alive, and we've got Monday Night Football, Monday Night New York Jets football. That's the best Monday night of the year. And if it happens really more than once, then it's, there are multiple best Monday nights of the year.
It's going to be really fun.
This is actually going to be a game that tells us a lot. Because the Chargers, I think the Chargers are talented. They're just not well coached. They're very sloppy. The Jets can't pull this one out, then I don't know how it'll be the rest of the season.
It'll be a little dicey. I think this is the year where the Chargers, like the chickens are coming home to roost. We're finally seeing that they aren't who we thought they were, or at least who some people thought they were. I've been a vocal detractor. Yeah, thank you. Look at us. Hey, that's why we're on the show, man. That's why we get paid the nothing. Hey, we're doing the damn thing. It's the Fantasy Football Q&A show. We got a huge slate of Week 9 matchups. The chat is already on fire. I see we got Takeda, we got Rhett, we got Joey Crack. Very, very excited. Rhett, for the record, I did not shave my head. This is just a bun. Can we see? Do we have a bun situation? But guys, we're so excited to get after it, and we're looking at a lot of questions already. So we absolutely love to see that. That's why you guys are the best followers, supporters, fans in the game. So why don't we start off with the questions? Ant, our producer Ant, is back in the fold. Very happy to have Ant here. Mr. Squishy79 asks, start Mahomes, Howell, or Levis at QB. Pick 2 to start. McLaurin, Lockett, Rice, or Flowers. Demon, kick us off.
Well, you have to start Mahomes. I mean, even though he has no receivers, you absolutely have to start Mahomes. I might actually, Levis and Howell. I'm probably going to start Sam Howell only because of the Will Levis matchup against Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin is brutal against rookie quarterbacks, has been brutal against rookie quarterbacks. So I know what we saw from Will Levis last week. I am confident that he will go on to become something in the NFL. He's not going to be like Jordan Love and fizzle out. Where's Brian?
He couldn't wait. He was sitting on that one.
And so pick 2 to start as far as receivers go. Ooh, I'm going to go McLaurin and Lockett because Rashee Rice, I don't trust Rashee Rice. And Zay Flowers, man. I love Zay Flowers. I just don't like the usage. So I'm going to go McLaurin and Lockett.
Zay Flowers is one of those ultimate fantasy football. I'll say disappointments. He's fine. He's been hovering around the wide receiver 30 all year, but I can't stomach another 7 for 19 game, Demon.
Yeah.
It's just not working for me. PPR, he's a lot better, a lot more viable, but I'm with you on the Flowers train, unfortunately. I've been the biggest fan. I love his talent, but yeah, the utilization is just not it, Chief. So back to the quarterbacks. Mahomes is the no-brainer. Unfortunately, nothing you can do there. I think he's a weekly start. I think he's matchup proof.
Yeah. You don't want him on your bench when he breaks 50.
Yeah, he had the flu. Let's give him a break. Joe Crack in the chat actually literally asked Howell or Levis earlier. So if we had to split hairs, Demon, on Howell or Levis, would Howell be your 2?
Howell would be my 2, and it's because of the matchup. If it wasn't Mike Tomlin, I would probably go Levis just because I like what I saw from him. Howell's been a pretty viable fantasy quarterback, though. So I think I think it's the safer bet.
He has, and my receivers, I'll go with McLaurin, and I think I'll also go with Lockett as well. Even though I'm not overly enthused about Lockett's matchup, being that it's the Ravens, but game script wise, if the Seahawks are down a little bit, they might be slinging the rock a little bit more. Geno's, for the most part, had a lid on his output this year, but if it's a game where he has to throw to stay in the game, I kind of like the possibility that Lockett could get something going. And McLaurin is just locked into your lineup. He's been really good. And actually surprisingly consistent for him.
Yeah, and then you have that Howell and McLaurin stack, which
and that's We're getting dicey over there. We're rethinking the Mahomes thing. So good stuff. And I think we're ready to move on to the next question. Good, sir. Zion asks, start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. McLaurin, Jacoby Myers, Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman, Chris Olave, Gus Edwards, and Tony Pollard. So I believe you could do 3 receivers theoretically because 1 is a flex.
Yeah.
So Demon, give us your answer for this question.
This is interesting because we have 3 guys on here that I think are screaming buys right now, and they're all on your team. It's Devonta Smith, Chris Olave, and Tony Pollard. I think you can get them cheap. So anybody listening looking to upgrade their rosters for a playoff run, I think those are guys you can get pretty much on the cheap. I think you have to go Michael Pittman. That's the one that I think is without question. Man. Jacoby Myers with AOC throwing him the ball with a new coach. We do not know what to expect. Oh man, for me, I would probably go Pittman, McLaurin, and maybe Devonta Smith because that could have shootout potential, a divisional matchup. So that's probably what I would do if it wasn't for the AOC situation. Not that Jimmy Garoppolo is anything to write home about, but there's just too much uncertainty with the Raiders right now. I don't know that it's safe to trust Jacoby Myers. Plus, look what he did last week. He didn't do anything. Olave also, you have Derek Carr there. I think I need to see it a little more. He's getting heavily targeted, but just it's kind of like what you said with Zay Flowers. Like he's just not. Nothing's really happening with them. So I think those are the 3 high ceiling plays for me.
Yeah. Honestly, I think your process is really sound, Demon. I do think you got to lock McLaurin in just because he's been too good to take out. It would be really, really difficult to stomach a McLaurin 20 bomb on your bench. So Jacoby, pretty safely out for me with the AOC situation. By the way, great nickname, elite nickname, Demon. Love that. Yeah, I think if you can sell high on Jacoby, he's a sell high for me. I don't think you'll be able to. But I just don't see AOC, feeding 2 wide receiver 1-2 range guys. And, I think that's kind of what we're looking at. And I don't think Devontae is going to be the one who misses out on the touches. So for me, Jacoby's a sell high. Devontae Smith has been pretty okay. He's been, better than what we talked last week about the wide receiver 2 on the NFL team dilemma and how they haven't really been as great as we hoped they would be this year. But Devontae Smith is the one who's going to beat that if any of them is. So I do like that. And yeah, locking Pittman in as the guaranteed. So maybe I'll say McLaurin and Smith, and then God, Zion, your team is really good.
Yeah.
You have a lot of depth. There's a lot of good names. Olave is like another one. The lid's coming off at some point, right, Demon? Like,
yeah, I think it has to.
It has to.
He's seeing the volume, So I think that's got to translate at some point. I mean, if we're just looking at volume, I think he's one of the most heavily targeted receivers in the league. I think he's up there with the most air yards, but there's just nothing's coming of the targets. He's just too talented to think this is going to last.
And Gus, I mean, the Seahawks ranked 16th in total defense. So Gus is promising, like if I talked about the game script, and then now we're talking about Pollard like he's an afterthought. This is a really complicated question, Zion, but I hope we helped you at least whittle down the options because it's too hard to be definitive with these studs. Gun to my head, I'm saying McLaurin, Smith, and I guess Gus. Honestly, I think Gus is a good play this week.
So no Pittman for you.
I would probably, unfortunately, just fade Pittman due to the fact that the Colts offense is a bit volatile.
Yeah.
But I think Gardner's no, that's true. But I mean, he's at his games.
Yeah.
He's at his games this year. But I'm trying to think. Their matchup, if I recall correctly, is a pretty decent one, right?
I don't remember what the matchup is offhand.
The Colts play the Panthers. They're not great. They're not like a great pass defense, but they're not particularly bad. So they're more of a team that you can exploit on the ground.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. Jonathan Taylor's obviously a smash play. Ryan Meltzer asks, Demon, trade Deontay and White. I'm guessing Rashad, who, by the way, I want to thank you, Demon, for shouting me out on Twitter for getting the Rashad White call right
on the nose, man. He said 15 to 17 points. Rashad White, depending on your league, had 15 to 17 points.
He just has a weird knack for being average, but still getting fantasy points. Like there's yards to be had. he doesn't average a high yards per touch. He gets a lot of targets. And that game script had, dump off to Rachaad White written all over it. And it worked out pretty damn well for him in fantasy. So I appreciate you. Credit where it's due. Are we trading Deontay and Rachaad White for Bijan?
I don't know that I'm doing this because
wow.
look, Rachaad White's been. I mean, I know you hate him, and I know Brian hates him, but
I didn't say I hate. I was pounding the table for him last week. I like him.
He's been fairly steady.
He's
now
fine.
I know, he's been fairly steady in terms of the passing game. I think we're going to keep seeing that volume, so I think he's a pretty safe play. And then Deontay, man, he just sees targets. Like he's just a target machine. So you're giving up two guys. I mean, again, like a little more context would help with this. If you were fine at receiver and you wanted to upgrade running back, I'd say sure, do this in a second. But if you're just looking to make your team better, I don't know if as a whole this move would make your team better. I don't know if this would guarantee you more fantasy points on a weekly basis.
Yeah, man, it's so tough because like for me prior to the season and in Dynasty, this is like a smash, break your finger, press and accept so hard. But with what we've seen in redraft this season, Bijan is kind of up and down. He's not this stabilizing, consistent force that is overly productive for fantasy. And that just is what it is. It's kind of a gross truth. And everybody's looking at what Bijan could be, but he hasn't been that. So personally for me, I've established myself as the degenerate gambler of the show. So for me, I personally would probably roll the dice on Bijan just because the promise is there. He is what's behind door number 1 or door number 2 or whatever. And personally, I would take that risk 10 times out of 10, given his upside and given that offense's acumen to run. I am betting on Arthur Smith, which is absolutely terrifying given what he's shown. But I do think you got to take this trade, Ryan.
His prospects in the receiving game might be better with Taylor Heineke. So
definitely, also very possible, and the prospects of the offense on the whole might be better, which means more likelihood for touchdowns, opportunities. When drives get taken away, this is something I've been noticing lately, Demon, and I don't know if you've noticed it this season, but there have been a large chunk of games that end with like 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter for a player because the other team goes into either clock killing mode or what they call the 6-minute offense, which is like, I want to get down, I want to score, but I want to take as much time off clock as I can.
Yeah.
And when you're on the other side of it, I don't know if you've experienced that this year.
Giants game.
Oh, it is just, exactly. It's stifling. Yeah. You're sitting there and you're like, CJ Stroud only needs, one more touchdown to hit my parlay. He only needs, 17 yards to hit my parlay. And the Panthers take the ball with 9 minutes left and kick a game-winning field goal at the end. And it's like, where did all those yards go? Where did all those points go? So part of it is just opportunity. You want them to be on the field for longer. And with Heineke in the game, despite toxic groupthink being the reason we all think Desmond Ridder sucks, Heineke, I think, is a better option to move the ball.
Here's what's interesting. To piggyback off you there, though, Arthur Smith, I heard an interview with him, I think it was yesterday, and he made it sound like he's not done with Desmond Ridder yet. So that's I don't know that this offense is going to – Desmond Ridder is the type of quarterback he likes, right? He let Matt Ryan go to bring in Marcus Mariota, who's basically the same type of quarterback, a guy who can move. So Taylor Heineke does not fit that. And that's the problem. So I don't know what to expect from that offense. That's why Bijan is a great name. Like Kyle Pitts is a great name. Drake London is a great name. But I'm looking to win in fantasy. And if I have to put my faith in Arthur Smith being a smart football guy in terms of getting the ball to your playmakers or putting the best quarterback on the field that can help your team win, I don't know that I have faith in him to do that.
It's far from guaranteed. I think we've about exhausted this, but I would do it, Ryan. It's hard, but Justin Ziegler coming in with the super chat. Justin, we appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much.
You're a beast for this, man. You are the GOAT, man. Keep these coming, and we'll keep the good vibes flowing. With Palmer out for a second day in a row, should I bite the bullet and bench him for Jahan Dodson? Rest of bench is on IR or bye. He is 7-1, so a little bit of flexibility with his decision, Demon.
I might do this, because Jahan Dotson's coming. I'm not a big fan of Jahan Dotson. That's the big issue that I have here. Nor am I really a fan of Josh Palmer, but Dotson's coming off a nice week. So yeah, I think I could. If you're 7-1, you could probably risk doing this, and I don't think you're going to lose much if you do anyway. It's not like you're playing some high upside guy for in place of a stud who might get taken out of the game halfway through because of a lingering injury or something like that. So I think you're safe doing this.
Yeah, honestly, I totally see where you're coming from. Dodson does appear to be on the other side of the early season woes. Howell seems to have identified that he is on the field, in fact, which is great. I invested in Dodson heavily in our legit football dynasty league, so I have a lot invested in him being great. So, and I like Palmer in general over him. So if Palmer manages to squeeze in a limited on Friday and manages to end up active, I don't hate just rolling with a slightly banged up Palmer. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I just Quentin Johnston actually looked pretty decent last week.
Yeah, he had a little mini breakout, huh?
That's why I'm thinking if something were to happen. Plus, they're playing the Jets defense. That's another thing. But
you and me both say that about our teams, and we both happen to be right a lot of the times. It's true though.
But
Jets defense is good.
I think if anything lingers for Palmer, they might be quick to pull the plug on him and just throw those targets to Johnston. So that's it's a little tough with that situation, taking the injury into account.
So you're probably just rolling with Dodson and just
probably going to roll with Dodson and not have to sit there and bite my nails hoping that Palmer, and who knows before Monday night if they say, oh, you know what, he all of a sudden he can't play.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So phenomenal question, Justin. We appreciate the super chat as always. You are the GOAT. And I think we're ready to take the next question. Brian Posdale wants to know, Mr. Demon, is David Montgomery and Gabe Davis for Cooper Kupp a good trade? Exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark.
If you're getting Cooper Kupp, then yes, I think so. But I know Cooper Kupp hasn't done much, but down the stretch, I just, he's Cooper Kupp. He's one of those guys that on any given week can just pop a 30-point game for you and win your week. The emergence of Jahmyr Gibbs, which we've talked about for weeks leading up to this, makes David Montgomery not a bad play, but it could turn him from a 20-point guy to like a 10-point guy on a given week. So that's the thing. And Gabe Davis is so hit or miss. He's more of a a guy you're just plugging in as a what the heck flex if you have nobody else to put in there. Great in best ball, but other than that, I don't have much faith in him. So for me, this would be, are you trading Cooper Kupp for David Montgomery? And I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Demon, because I think for the most part, we know who Gabe Davis is at this point. We've seen him long enough. He's been in the NFL. This is his 4th year. And there are parts of his game I'm enamored with. And I think the only reason that I would even consider this trade is if you are believing in last week's Gabe Davis outburst as a legitimate, sign of things to come, because a lot of Gabe Davis's best career games, you look at Pittsburgh last year, 3 receptions, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Those kinds of games are just not sustainable, right? Yeah. But last week, it appeared there was a conscious shift in utilization. He had, I believe, 8 receptions for, I want to say, 90-something yards and a touchdown, and he was being peppered with targets, and he was being used as sort of a movable chess piece, which is new for him. And it's something that if you believe that that's what the Bills will do, and as a fan of theirs, I'm inclined to say that I would probably wager on the side of that not being the case.
Yeah.
Then I think you could probably fade this trade, even though I do like Montgomery, and I think the Gibbs truthers, myself included, might have a rude awakening on the other side of this outbreak, because I really think that it's possible that Montgomery goes right back to the same role he had before.
You think they'll go, because Gibbs looked so great this
I
past
think
week. And
you.
then I
I
think
don't
it's
think
almost, it's nearly impossible. If let me tell you something, if he benches Gibbs and they end up losing, that
Yeah,
he's gonna
no, I'm
get,
with you. No,
you
I
know what
feel
I
the
mean?
same passion that you feel. I have Gibbs in a lot of leagues. I'm a huge fan of the talent. I just get very nervous about coaches who show us who they are, and that's the same gamble I told you about
Well,
with
you're right.
Bijan.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds like you might be down to take that risk for Gibbs as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm with that. I need it to be the case in a couple leagues. But that being said, Montgomery's probably going to get the goal line work, which is very meaningful in that offense. We've seen Jamal Williams turn that role into an
Yeah.
RB1 season. I think the Cooper Cup side of it. Look, if you're the Cooper Cup owner, you probably need to do this trade because you probably started 1-3 or 0-4, or whatever. So I don't fault you if you have to. Asset liquidation. This is the time to do it. There's really no trade deadlines are coming up in every league. This is, if you're going to liquidate your assets, this is the time to do it. So I'm
Well,
not mad at.
for Cup, you might be able to get a third piece involved
That's
here.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be able. That's a great advice, Demon.
It
You
seems
might
like
be
it's
able
a
to get.
little light for me for
You
Cup.
might be able to get a little
Yeah.
bit more. Let's push Brian to go a little further towards this rainbow that he has. All right, Anthony, we are ready for the next question. If I have to play Najee because CMC is on a bye, do you think he'll do decent tonight?
I think with Najee, he will get you 7 to 10 points pretty consistently. And then you just got to pray for more. It's better than taking a 0. Running back is so tough this year. There are only a handful of guys that you can really rely on to go in and just be the workhorse. So I think when you say decent, if I'm getting 10 points out of my running back, I'm pretty happy about that, So, I mean, where you took Najee is a whole different story. That's a loaded conversation. But
It's so
yeah,
unfortunate what he's turned out to be this season,
yeah,
and really in general. Honestly, I think I've been fading him into oblivion, and it's one of the few takes that I will just cling to as like, I was right about this, and I feel good that I have 0 shares.
right. We've got a couple more super chats here.
Oh, hey, let's hit those super chats, man. Justin Ziegler, the GOAT, back again. In my other league, someone wants Javonte Williams. He has Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Isaiah Pacheco, Keenan Allen, and T. Higgins. Who should I go for / package, Demon?
Okay, so he wants Javonte Williams, sorry. Breece
Someone's
Hall,
hunting.
CeeDee Lamb, Olave, Pacheco, Keenan Allen,
It's
Higgins.
got to be a Broncos fan, right?
Yeah. I don't think you're getting Breece Hall or CeeDee Lamb for Javonte. If you
Probably
can,
not.
I mean, just do it, but
Do
I
it
don't
one
think
for
you
one,
will.
but maybe throw one of your weaker pieces in there or a draft pick if it's a dynasty or a keeper.
Yeah.
But yeah. So go ahead, Demon. What you looking at?
I mean, I'm thinking Keenan Allen I'm just seeing that Keenan Allen and I'm loving that. If
One
you
for one?
could, one for one, but if you could sneak, maybe Pacheco away,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know that you'll get it, but I'm not a
Pacheco's
big
not bad to
fan
have.
of, what's that?
Pacheco's not bad to have. He's a
Not
nice
bad to
piece.
have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can do like a Keenan Allen Pacheco, give him Javonte Williams, and if you want something else, just throw Justice
Yeah.
Hill at him or something. But
Yeah. It's a little rich. I think Javonte for Keenan Allen and Pacheco, I'd say
yeah.
the joke I have is just break your finger smashing the accept so hard. Like if you get that one. Realistically, Demon, what I'm looking at is T. Higgins. And it's not sexy at all. The wide receiver 2 conundrum that we've talked about ad nauseum is very much applying to T. Higgins. He's actually the poster child for that. If you look up underperforming wide receiver 2 in the dictionary, T. Higgins photo was there. So, I proceed with caution. And he's probably, Demon, the most pry-awayable given his situation.
Let me ask you a question. What about Olave? Because Olave's seeing the targets.
Olave is similar to Higgins, I think. I think the difference is one is attached to Derek Carr, one is attached to Joe Burrow.
You might be able to pull both of them away.
If you could do a twofer, Demon, that's it.
No,
unlocked the so Javonte Williams for Olave and T. Higgins and proceed to profit.
Yeah.
Smash it so hard that your phone screen cracks. And we broke the case wide open. That's easy. Good call.
I love that.
I love that too. Actually, I'm gonna go see what I can do in my league where I have Devontae. Anthony, you didn't hear that. Anthony, let's talk trades after this. All right, next question. Another one. Oh my goodness, the chat is just on fire. We love and appreciate you guys so much. You guys are the backbone of what we do. We have Mixon, Addison, Olave. I'm guessing for this week, pick 2.
Ooh, I'm with the way the Bengals have been playing. Mixon's a smash for me.
Yeah, especially against the Bills. I'll be real. Stopping the run's not their forte.
It would be Addison. I don't know what to expect from that quarterback situation. It's the only pause I have. I think it could be a big, I think Hawkinson could get targeted a lot. I don't know what to expect from this kid, honestly. I picked him up in our league, but I don't know. I'm starting him. I don't know what he's going to do. The quarterback, I forgot his name.
Jaron Hall?
Yeah, Jaron Hall.
Yeah. And then Josh Dobbs, who just got to town.
So for me, the safer play is Olave, but the higher upside is Addison. So pick your poison. If you want to just, if you think that this is the safer play, if you want to go for a safe floor, go with Olave. But if you want to shoot for the moon, I would go Addison and just see what happens. But Mixon is definite for me.
I do Mixon and Olave as well. Safety. Yeah. Not easy to do, not an easy decision to bench Addison with what he's been doing. But to me, unfortunately, you don't really have a choice with the quarterback situation. It is just too damn volatile.
Now, for me, I tend to shoot for the moon because those points at the end of the season can really help. So
they add up. They do make the difference. The floor is just a crater. You know what I mean? There's no the floor is 0. It is. It actually is, and it's a tough pill to swallow. Yeah. Anthony, let's keep it moving. Next up, we have Mohammed Issa 15. Tank Dell or Gus Edwards? This is a good question.
This is a good question, and I'm probably going to go with Gus Edwards because I need to see a little more. It seems like the Texans' offense has taken a step back from what we saw early on in the season. So we do know if Gus Edwards is playing, he's going to see the volume. So, and he's what did he have? 3 touchdowns last week? I mean, the guy just blew up last week. So I don't see any reason why, barring an injury, they would pull away from that. So this is Gus Edwards pretty easily for me.
And it's tough, too, because Tank Dell was the breakout. He was is the guy. And it's really been put on a pause.
People are talking about him and Addison as like the 2 rookies that,
Yeah, and it really looked like he was going to be that guy. It really looked like he was going to be a 6 to 8 catch a game guy with a potential for a big play every week. Has not materialized in recent weeks, and it's also kind of slowed down. I think we've seen a little bit of a slowdown from C.J. Stroud as well. So C.J. Stroud is a buy low for me. So I think the Texans' offense in general will be. They have a lot of green matchups in Sleeper. I love to look at the color of the teams that they're playing in the next 5 weeks. So there's a lot of green there. So a lot of potential. But this week, Gus Edwards just feels safer. They're playing the Seahawks. I think the Ravens will win the game. So I think therefore Gus Edwards will have the likelihood of, milking the clock. He's the perfect running back for a 6-minute drill. Perfect.
Yeah.
And that also applies to a 4-minute drill. Probably not a 2-minute drill, but the other ones. I absolutely am loving this so far, and I think we're ready for the next one. Connect Expertise, Superflex, PPR, Levis, Puka, Gus, or Bryce.
Oh, pick one.
First of all, Prosper.
Yeah.
Nice. Good on you for having to pick between those 4. Demon, who you got?
Man, this is rough because of the situations. We talked about Levis before with the Steelers. Don't love it. Puka's got he doesn't have Stafford there. Gus might be the safest one. I'm not even man. Oh my God, this is rough. Because of the, I don't even know.
I'm with you. I work through it. This is the process. This is what they need from us, Demon. Be strong.
Right. So are you trusting Puka?
Yes.
You are.
I've decided. Okay. I like him too much. I can forgive a bad game.
Let's put it in context though, but enough to start him over a quarterback in Superflex.
No. That was
Right.
when you throw the context out there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Puka and Gus, however great they might be, this does for me boil down to Levis or Bryce.
Yeah.
Now we've learned, Demon, and I was the league sacrifice for this in our legit football Superflex Dynasty League. It's my first time ever doing Superflex. It's actually also my first time ever doing Fab. Don't tell anybody that, Demon. That's just between you and me.
I spent
Because it's
$50
like
on Trevor Siemian.
he did. It was such a beautiful thing. And it happened again today. Somebody paid $40 for Clayton Tune, and they bid against nobody. They were the only bid. And they paid $40. I love when that happens. That is fantasy gold. Demon, thank you for laughing at yourself. You're a true king.
I am.
But I learned the hard way that just because they're a quarterback doesn't mean they need to start. I threw in Brian Hoyer in my lineup, and I got negative 0.86 points.
Yeah.
So that's toxic. It's a toxic thought process. But in this case, with the upside Levis has displayed, the Steelers, however great of a defensive line they have, and they have one of the best in the league, their secondary is leaky, Demon. I think there's opportunities here. I really do. I think we're going to see a little bit better of a game from Levis than people think. I was high on Levis coming into the league. I was mortified he didn't go in the top 5. Even more mortified he didn't go in the top 32. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, the size of Tennessee. And Bryce Young, the Panthers play, remind me again, the Panthers play the Colts.
The Colts.
So not a bad matchup. But I think I'm gonna do my gut check time. I'm gonna take a Tums and I'm gonna throw in Levis.
Well, let me say this. I think we talked about Tomlin against rookie quarterbacks has been phenomenal against rookie quarterbacks. Levis can move, man. This guy can run. He's got a cannon for an arm, and he is throwing to DeAndre Hopkins, who has taken some super soldier serum. So he's going to heavily target DeAndre Hopkins. So if you're asking me to bet on DeAndre Hopkins with a guy who can move and has a rocket arm, or a guy like Bryce Young, who's a good decision maker, smallish, and throwing to Adam Thielen, who's played well, but I'm taking D-Hop over Adam Thielen every day of the week. I'm picking Levis and D-Hop in that situation. So
that's got to be our pick, right?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Levis.
Yeah, unfortunately, Puka's got the who knows about whether or not Stafford's going to play.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a huge variable, and then Gus is at times gets phased out if it's more of a competitive game than we think. It's too risky. You got to go with the safety of a QB and Connect Expertise. I look forward to hearing from you at 9:00 at the Buffalo Trill on Twitter, thanking me. So Demon, let's keep it moving, man. We are absolutely flying. I want to give a special shout out. I see a lot of Western New York love in the chat. Joey Crack, Rochester native. I saw we have somebody in there showing love to Syracuse. I appreciate that. Demon's a Jersey guy, correct?
I'm a Jersey guy. That's right. Yeah.
That's East Coast love. I mean,
I
live in LA.
Right off the border of Manhattan, man. Opening a Sopranos. That's where I grew up.
Let's go. My man goes to Satriel's for lunch every day. 100%.
Brent Wallace here, by the way. I got to give him a shout out. Thank you so much, Brent. That was very generous of you. My 36th follower ever on any platform. My 36th follower ever. He's a Jets fan.
And he knows. He remembers.
Dude, yeah, I remember. I will never forget this, dude. I put out when I could not get anybody to comment or follow me or anything, I put out a video begging people to, and this guy went on there and was like, "I'll follow you." So,
Brent, you're a freaking
near and dear to my heart, man.
We appreciate you, man. We're very happy that you're here, man. Please keep coming back for real, forever. All right, Anthony, we are ready for our next fantasy Q&A question. Sawyer Eisenbarth, wonderful name. I need some help. I'm thinking of trading Jared Goff and Nico Collins for Lamar Jackson and Gabe Davis. Demon, should he?
Ooh, man.
Tantalizing.
It is tantalizing. I would probably go for the quarterback upgrade because Lamar is just so like.
And Nico to Gabe is not a huge drop off.
It's not. I mean, Nico popped early on in the season, but Gabe Davis has his games from time to time, so it's not too much. You're not falling off too much.
I haven't had the stones to bench Gabe Davis in any of my leagues.
You're a Buffalo fan.
It's probably what it is.
It's
probably a lot of bias associated. But I'll tell you what, like you said, those games when he explodes, I don't have that regret that other people have. Because I live and die. I live and die by the explosion. So
I'll tell you, if you have a strong roster and you have a guy like Gabe Davis there that you're plugging into your flex, I mean, you can win games even if he doesn't do well. And then when he pops, that's how you become the top point scorer in the league, you know.
100%.
So I like this, though. I like the upgraded
Gotta take it.
quarterback with Lamar, and you still have the upside with Gabe.
Yeah, Sawyer. Have the dude who's considering that trade check his head for a concussion. But I love it. Next question. Anthony, killing it. Demario Douglas. This is Joey Crack, Demon. This is a longtime friend of mine. Show some love to Joey Crack.
What's going on, Joey?
We got Demario Douglas or Khalil Shakir, full PPR, Demon.
This one's easy for me. I got to know, who does Joey support team-wise?
Hey, you know who Joey supports.
He's a Buffalo fan? All right.
He's a Buffalo
So this is going to hurt you, Joey, but you're going Demario Douglas here.
Why, Demon?
Because I think he could be a target hog, man. I think he could be a target hog. If this is PPR and he said it's full point PPR.
You know, Khalil Shakir had 6 receptions last week, right?
Last week, yeah. What did he do the week before?
Let's look.
Let's see.
That's what the internet is for.
I think Demario Douglas could have like 8 to 10 receptions, man. No lie.
No, I don't hate it. I don't hate the call. I think Demario Douglas is a really good player. It was 4 for 35 the week prior. So nothing
I think
special.
Khalil Shakir is more likely to give you the 2-point game. That's where my thinking is. Yeah,
I could see that. Well, Demario Douglas has a higher ceiling. We know that.
Yeah.
And I think Shakir might have a higher floor. But that really doesn't particularly matter too much. If you're going, so I would say, Joe, this is a decision between ceiling and floor, where Demario Douglas has that, like Demon said, 8 to 10 receptions, very explosive. He can get down the field in a flash. So he's a guy and I've seen him get the ball on reverses and stuff. He's a very effective player. He's good at, finding the hole. Absolutely love Demario Douglas. I personally would go with Shakir just because it's full PPR, and that's very, very, I think he's going to be a weapon rest of season. Him and Kincaid, I think they're going to absorb and combine into that Cole Beasley role. Hey, yo.
You see the look on his face? It's like the Cole Beasley role.
It's biased if I'm wrong, but they I'm telling you, bro, it's Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen.
Pick up Alan Lazard and start him.
Yeah, exactly. Go grab Cole. Oh wait, no. Go grab Aaron Rodgers. No, wait.
Oh, do not mention Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you know the rule. We don't mention him until week 15 when he comes back in glorious fashion.
Dude, he's coming back this week. What are you talking about?
He's got to come back soon.
You saw him throwing. He looks good. He's back.
Insane. So we can talk about Aaron Rodgers all day. Let's get to these questions.
Please, absolutely. Anthony, we are ready for the next question. Thank you for that one. It's Evo traded Laporta and Moss for Bijan when he already had Mark Andrews. How do we feel, Demon?
Being that you had Mark Andrews already, I feel like you could have gotten maybe, I don't know that I would have added Moss. Into that deal. I feel like you overpaid a little bit. Given what Bijan has done.
Okay.
I feel like you might have overpaid a little bit because Moss has just been getting the ball. Now, I know Jonathan Taylor is, if he's there and he's healthy, he's going to be the guy that runs away with it. But he already got hurt. And he's been, he hasn't played a full, every game this season. So there's a chance that could happen again. I think you might have overpaid a little bit for Bijan, just taking into context what we said earlier in terms of what a question mark that Atlanta
You're right.
is.
Yeah, you're not wrong about the Bijan fear, right? But I think the thing is almost like with Mark Andrews, you're never going to sit him, right? Laporta's never going to crack your lineup. So
right.
You
could have gotten Bijan for Laporta, I guess, is what I'm saying.
You think so?
Laporta,
You do.
Yeah, I think you could.
I kind of feel like Moss was the needed sweetener. He was like the needed cinnamon powder in the cold brew. You got to flavor it up a little bit just to make it go down a little easier. I don't hate the trade. It's Evo.
Yeah, I mean, if this was Moss for Bijan straight up though, do you like?
It's a fleasing. The Bijan side gets the upside. They get the floor. I think now that Jonathan Taylor's stealing the rollback. Yeah, I mean, look, Zach Moss is the RB4 on the year, so don't let me knock him. I mean,
That's
but
I feel like we look at, and you're hurt from Zach Moss too, because he was supposed to be doing this on Buffalo too.
It's funny. I'm not kidding. I had a party the day he got traded.
Oh, did you?
I had a little party. He sucked.
So you hate
Buffalo.
him.
He was really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not even mad at his success. I'm very happy to see him. I believe in the culture of it a lot.
You can't even say that without smiling.
I mean, he didn't get hit by a jet ski. Nyheim Hines, we miss him terribly. I do wish Nyheim Hines was here, but it is what it is. I think you won the trade. I think it's good because you already had Mark Andrews. You were never going to sit him. and now you have Bijan instead of Zach Moss. So to me, it's just given the Jonathan Taylor poaching, I think it's an upgrade.
And Brian brought this up. He's brought it up a few times. If you feel that this has made your team better, you know what your team looks like. Who are we to say it doesn't make your team better? You know what I mean?
That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
100%. Anthony, next question. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, Jeff Sharp. Pick 2, Mixon, Addison, Olave, Demon.
Jeff, what's going on, man? Jeff is a loyal Facebook follower. It's good to see him on here. Mixon, absolutely. And then we had was it Addison and Olave? We talked about this thing before.
Yeah, Jeff might have double commented, but if he did, we appreciate you for your commitment. It's Mixon and Olave.
Yeah,
no brainer.
Mixon and Olave.
And
I said Olave is the safer play. Addison's the higher ceiling play.
And the lower floor.
Yeah.
Inarguably. Josh, which trade do you like more in a 20-man PPR?
Wow.
Josh,
Insane.
The trade I like the most is you doing things to preserve your mental health. Okay, 20-man. I'm in a 14-man and it's stressful, so I can't imagine. We're looking at Jacoby and DeMario for DK, Aaron Jones and Rondale for Josh Jacobs. He already has Lamar, JT, Aaron Jones, Tyree, Christian Kirk, George Kittle, and Jacoby.
Man. I probably like.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
They're both a little dicey.
I'll tell you why I like the Aaron Jones and Rondale for Josh Jacobs better, because I know Josh Jacobs. I have a feeling with this new defensive-minded coach they have, former linebacker for the New York Giants, he could want to come in and play smash mouth football and just be like, let's get the ball to our best players and let's run down the clock. So I think Jacobs might be the. I don't love giving up Jacoby and DeMario Douglas for DK. DK hasn't been DK,
No,
and we're seeing the emergence of the young receiver whose name escapes me right now. Yeah, We're seeing his emergence. So I do like. Aaron Jones hasn't really done much. Rondale Moore hasn't done much. I know Kyler's coming back, but you got Michael Wilson there. You got Hollywood Brown there. He's going to get peppered with targets. You have that the tight end emerging there. So I like the Jacobs side of this.
I actually couldn't agree with you more, Demon. And I think you did a good job, Josh, making both trades fair.
Yeah.
Getting out from under the Aaron Jones rock of despair is definitely something that I would advise doing sooner than later.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate.
The arrow's not pointing up on that offense.
Oh, it is bad. Yeah. And I love the player. I love the talent. It's been an unbelievably frustrating season being an Aaron Jones truther. And I did ship him off in Dynasty right before the season. And I got T. Higgins back. So, joke's on me. But I absolutely love the idea of packaging him with Rondale, who Rondale, believe it or not, in a 20-man is probably pretty valuable. I love the idea of swinging for the fences there with Jacobs. And I think, Demon, your logic, this is why you're the Demon, bro. This is why you're the Pro Football Demon. You bring those extra nuggets, man. Antonio Pierce played for the Tiki Barber Giants.
Yeah.
Do you think Antonio Pierce isn't going to want to pound the rock? You think Antonio Pierce isn't going to want to funnel, carries to Josh Jacobs and isn't going to want to pound the ball until you get to the one and then throw a goal line fade to a tight end? Come on.
And another layer of that is you have Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams in that offense. So defenses have to respect that. There's nobody you have to respect other than Aaron Jones with the way the quarterback play has been in Green Bay. There's nobody you have to respect on that offense other than Aaron Jones.
Yeah, honestly, you're completely right. And, Jordan Love, he never passed the eye test. He did pass the fantasy numbers test. He's still pretty damn close. I'd say, listen, this is a free nugget. Nobody's asking any questions about Jordan Love, but I'm telling you right now, if you have Jordan Love, go try to get something for him.
Yeah.
Go try to grab, a bench piece or a draft pick for Jordan Love, unless it's a super flex, obviously, but he ain't sustaining that.
No, he's ungood. He's not good.
Yeah. 100%. All right, Anthony, next question. We are flying through the show. We have 15 minutes left, guys. Get your questions in. Thank you guys so much. Super chats get automatically read. Check out our promotion with GameBlazers. The link is on the bottom of the screen. We appreciate y'all so much for being here, for real. You make our Thursdays better. Demon, I don't know about you, but I have literally some of the most fun I have on the week.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
It's such a blast, dude. All right, Marcos Valdez. Scantling. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
was going to say that.
I had to. It was right there. Waller is out. Who do you guys think I should pick up out of these guys? Schultz, Taysom, ding, 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 Jake Ferguson, or Kyle Pitts, half PPR?
Oh, man. If
It's
it's
philosophy,
me
man.
and nobody's going to agree with this, I'm picking up Kyle Pitts. I know Taysom Hill, man. Every time I watch the Saints, I'm like, Taysom Hill scored again, but then I don't buy it. I just don't. I've never bought it with Taysom
It's
Hill.
so scary because it's like any given
That's
week could be
probably
the
the
week he
smarter
gets
thing to
iced out.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Any given week. I don't know about you, Demon, but like when I'm putting together my 5-leg parlays, I'll look at the ones that have the lowest number, right? Like it'll be like 2 rushing yards, and I'll be like, they only need to get 2 yards. But the problem is sometimes it doesn't happen. And that's the ultimate starting Taysom Hill in fantasy. It's like, if it's not one of the games where he gets 13 carries or gets 7 targets, you're going to get a goose or you're going to get a point. And that's just what it is. And that's unfortunate. It hasn't been the case this year. We're almost at a point with Taysom that it's consistent enough that you can start trusting him, right? Like almost. I don't, knock on wood, right? I mean, the minute you think you can is the minute you're going to get a 2, but Schultz is great.
Let's just piggyback off that word trust that you brought up, because that's perfect for this.
Yeah.
So do you trust Taysom Hill more than – is there anybody on this list that you trust more than him?
The thing is I think in a weirdly similar way to what you mentioned about Kyle Pitts, I feel the same way about him. Honestly, it's similar to Taysom in that, the Arrested Development quote of like, man, these idiots all convinced themselves that it would be the case for them and they were wrong. But with us, it's different.
Yeah.
And it's not. Every week it's not. And look, Heineke is starting now and the heat is on Arthur Smith. They're going to be opening up the passing game. Theoretically, the arrow was already starting to point up on Pitts anyway. So yeah, Demon, I'm a coin flip between Taysom and Pitts. Schultz and Ferguson are fine dart throws, but they're not exactly exciting or sexy. No. They're kind of like in a pinch. You can throw them in and they might get you 6 to 10 points.
The one guy that you can see explode on here, perhaps explode, and then, all of a sudden there's no putting the genie back in that bottle, is Kyle Pitts. He's the only one that really has that upside here.
I mean, Taysom Hill, for whatever it's worth, has actually exploded this year.
Yeah, but consistently though. I mean, if he explodes in a game, do you think you're going to see that again?
We got to look at the game log, man, because I kind of think you might be sleeping a little bit. Hold on, let me look at the game log, because again, nobody wants to be wrong, like more wrong, because I faded Pitts everywhere, and again, there are times when our biases and our because I've kind of been a Pitts, for lack of a better term, hater, and it's worked out for me. But let's look at Taysom Hill. Hold on. We're looking at
go ahead.
Game log. We're looking at here's what we're looking at, Demon. Tight end. I'm gonna give you the honest, disgusting truth. Okay. Tight end 49, terrible. Tight end 13, not good, but okay. No. Bad stretch. Tight end 29, tight end 34, tight end 39. This is what we're looking at now. This is that consistency I was telling you about, and that explosion. Tight end 9, tight end 5, tight end 1. Mm-hmm. That's 3 straight games, and they play the Bears.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's close to an explosion, right? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if it's possible, if you have somebody else on your bench that you can just feel good about dropping, maybe pick them both up, start Taysom Hill, and see what Kyle Pitts does.
That's a good call. That's a really good call, because rest of season, Kyle Pitts, like you said, genie gets out of the bottle, you can't put it back in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Taysom Hill, that we've seen that genie come in and out of that bottle for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it will continue to. So I really like the fact that we teased it out this dramatically and extensively.
Yeah.
But I think it's that difficult of a question. So I'm glad that that's what makes this show so special. We couldn't really have thought about that more different, but we got to a very, very similar place. All right, Anthony, we are ready for the next question. Mister wants to know Will Levis or CJ Stroud.
Oh man, I'm gonna go CJ Stroud. I don't know that
I think so.
I don't know that I'm ready to start Levis over him after 1 week.
I love it, man. I think you're exactly right. Like I said, Levis is fine. He has a good matchup tonight. He's a better play than some of the dicier streamers. But Stroud is tried and true. And I think until until Stroud has like an objectively bad game, I think you can keep trotting him out there. I think you can trust him.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, next question. We are in the final 10 minutes, so keep your questions coming, and we will keep the show moving. Mason Levs wants to know, Godwin or James Cook at flex? I already have Evans at wide receiver. And Steelers or Jets defense?
Well, if you're already starting Evans, I'm not starting Evans and Godwin. So because of that, I'm starting James Cook. Steelers or Jets defense. Oh, maybe because I'm a homer, but the Jets defense is just awesome.
Are we allowed to do that, Demon? Are we allowed to pick guys?
I don't know if we're allowed to do that.
I was told earlier.
We've been talking about the holes the Steelers have, but the one thing that might convince me to start the Steelers defense is because it's, again, Tomlin, a defensive-minded coach who has done great against rookie quarterbacks. So that could be the tipping point for me when it comes to the Steelers. Justin Herbert, that offense hasn't looked great. Justin Herbert's been a bit off lately. So, in the Jets defense, man, that pass rush has been insane. They've been playing out of their minds. So
that
for me, it would be the Jets.
Alive, 100%.
Yeah. So for me, it would be the Jets and Cook. We already know he's going. We already know this guy's going, James Cook.
Lockstep. You nailed it, Demon. Baby Cook at flex and Jets defense. Next question, Anthony. We're keeping it moving. We have 9 minutes. We want to get to as many of these as we humanly possibly can. Let's keep it moving. People's Voice wants to know, Tyjae Spears or Alexander Madison?
I think you have to go Alexander Madison. I don't love it, but I would have to go Alexander Madison.
I think personally for me, just based on what we've seen out of Spears this season, based on the fact that it's an interesting game script and Madison could have Jaron Hall as his QB, personally, I'm more inclined to just go with Spears. It's kind of a rock and a hard place because Spears is a backup and Madison is playing with a JV quarterback.
Yeah.
But Spears, I just trust him personally more than Madison.
I don't trust Madison, but it's a tough call, man. They're probably going to end up with the same point total, to be honest.
Yeah, I might go waiver wire on that one, People's Voice. All right, Anthony, next question. Donut, something like that. Kenneth Walker versus the Ravens or Rachaad White versus the Texans in a PPR league? That's an interesting note for this question.
What's interesting about this is the way Pete Carroll has talked about why can't I remember anybody's name tonight? Who's his backup? Zach Charbonnet. The way Pete Carroll was talking about Zach Charbonnet is as if that's a backfield that's going to be split now. Do we believe that? I don't know. But Kenneth Walker's been banged up. If he gives Charbonnet a few touches and he looks good, he might just roll with Charbonnet more. So I think Rachaad White's got the safer PPR floor, considering it's a PPR league. So that's where I would lean. Yeah,
I like Rachaad White in this one based on the same reasons I liked him in the last one. Yeah. He's not a special talent, in my opinion. He's fine. He's, average to above average in terms of talent. But his role and his usage are great for fantasy football. The fact that Baker Mayfield is his quarterback is great. The fact that they're playing the Texans, who, for all intents and purposes, that game could be really fun to watch. They're two frisky teams, getting at it. I don't really know who I would pick. That's going to be a fun one to break down this week. But I do think I'd go with White based on the floor and based on the fact that Ken Walker, for all intents and purposes, yeah, you're right. Demon could lose that role any moment. Anthony, next question. We are looking at Tammy Neves, Josh Downs. Oh, this is a good one. Josh Downs and T. Higgins.
I am inclined to go with Josh Downs. Man, I really want to go T. Higgins, but I don't think I could do it.
It could be a shootout, man. It could be a shootout.
Could be a shootout. You're right. And Joe Burrow's looking more like Joe Burrow.
He's looking great.
You know what? For me, I actually feel like T. Higgins might have the higher ceiling.
For sure.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with T. Higgins.
It's so hard because the thing is like I've kind of fallen in love with Josh Downs' talent. And
me too.
The fact that Gardner just hyper targets him, like he's a lock for 5 catches a game.
Yeah.
And that could be a lot in a game where they're playing the Panthers. The Colts' pace of play, I actually spoke with Zach Miller about this on the Coffee Shop Sports podcast. The pace of play for the Colts is so fast, and the pace of play for the Panthers is so slow. So it's going to be a jockeying of who gets their way in this game. And if the Colts get their way and this game turns into a shootout and we get Gardner Minshew versus Bryce Young and Josh Downs gets 11, 12 targets and 7 catches,
Right.
I do think we can agree the floor is Downs, right?
Yeah. The floor is definitely Downs, but the 3 touchdown upside is Higgins.
T. Higgins is this for me. This is a coin flip, and I'd also say Tammy, if you're projected to win, maybe play Downs for that safety, and if you're projected to lose, maybe play Higgins for that.
That's a great way to look at it. I love
you like that. Yeah. Look at that. Look at us.
I wish I thought of that. Damn it.
Every week we're bringing new nuggets for these guys, man. Who's next? Anthony, you're killing it managing the chat. We have Jet Sutton. Great name. Demon loves you. I traded DK, Thomas, and Gibbs for Bijan and T. Did I win?
DK, Thomas, and Gibbs for Bijan and T. Did I win? Oh, no, I don't think you did. And I hate to say that, but
I don't hate the trade for what
I don't hate it, but seeing
trading
what
Gibbs hurts.
Yeah, I don't know that I would trade Gibbs for Bijan straight up. And then
in a dyno, would you?
Maybe. The problem is, I'm afraid that with Bijan, we could see him being Kyle Pitts over the next few years. I mean, is Arthur Smith going to stay there? I mean, we don't know that. We don't know what the situation's going to be. That's why it's tough. We're projecting. We're looking at the talent and saying, "Oh, logically this should happen," but will it happen? But Gibbs, we've seen it happen already. We've seen him. He can be that whole backfield if they need him to be. So right now the arrow's pointing at Gibbs, and I don't think there's any reason to move it away from him.
Yeah, I think just the sheer fact that Gibbs is trading away in this, I do think that you have to give yourself an L, but it's like a close L. It's like 51-49 because Bijan and T are both buy low candidates right now. Theoretically, T. Higgins could turn into the player we've thought he would be all year, and same with Bijan. So I like what you did, Jet. I don't hate the move whatsoever. I love Gibbs, so it's tough.
Yeah, DK and Thomas for T, I'd be okay with, but
right, exactly.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes him the unfortunate loser of the trade is that Jahmyr Gibbs is so special.
Yeah.
Hunt, Stevenson, or Flowers at flex this week. We have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. I'm going Stevenson.
Stevenson.
Yeah.
I think I agree. Anthony, next question. Zach Moss, Josh Downs, Aaron Jones, or Brian Robinson Jr. Pick one.
Oh, I think Josh Downs is the safest play here. Yeah.
100%. Next question. Joey Crack. Who you got tonight? Jalen Warren or Najee?
I'm in the camp of Jalen Warren camp. So
love that. Love that. And if this game turns into any sort of a shootout, if Will Levis does get some stuff going against the Steelers, Jalen Warren will get his 4 to 6 catches and he will make his hay. It's what he does. Just get Najee the hell away from your lineups, in my humble opinion. Mike Vrabel is a wonderful defensive coach. I don't see it tonight. I will eat crow on that if I'm wrong. Next question. Johnny D, I am 2-6. I'm the best team in the league. The best team in the league. The best team in the league is looking to acquire one of my running backs for a receiver. Who would you trade away in this group? Oh, he's 2-6. Okay, he's struggling.
One of your,
ETN, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, or Achane?
Oh, I might look to trade DeAndre.
100%.
Yeah, I might look to trade DeAndre because guy's gotten hurt in the past. We've seen him have little pops here and there, but I don't want to talk too much about it. But that's why we trade. I
think he's a sell high. I think Swift is a sell high. So go swap Swift. Anthony is keeping it coming. We love this. Landon, D-Hop. Headington, D-Hopper, Hollywood, D-Hop. Yes.
Yeah.
Next. Waddle, Addison, McLaurin, and Pickens. Which 3?
The one I'm removing from here is probably Addison.
100%. Yeah. All right, Anthony, keep them coming. Are we still going, or do we still got any? We've absolutely demolished this chat.
Yeah, I like that rapid fire at the end.
I figured, it was go time. We have one last one. Orion, D13. What should I do with Pollard? My other running backs are Breece Hall, Darrell Henderson, and Devon Achane.
I said earlier that Pollard is a buy low for me. I'm holding on to Pollard because I think he could smash at this later part of the season. So I would hold him.
I actually love that. I think I'm inclined to agree. Hold.
With the Darrell Henderson and A-Chain, or if something happens to Breece Hall, like you don't want to have a hole at running back going down.
Darrell Henderson to me is a rental until Kyron Williams comes back. So, and A-Chan is, unfortunately, we've learned time and time again, very dicey, very risky, especially when it comes to health. So not a bad call on just holding Orion. But thanks for the question. Pro Football Demon, we did it, man. We made it through an absurd amount of questions. The energy was high. I had a lot of espresso today, in case you guys couldn't tell. And I'm going to do more next week. I mean, this is the formula.
I'm still drinking green tea, man. Look at this. All day long.
Let's go. I had some matcha with it. Yeah, you like matcha?
That is matcha, yeah.
I really like matcha, actually. I'm into it. I'm definitely more of a cold brew guy, but I like to switch it up every now and then. I like to go LA on them. But you guys, we had such a blast answering your questions. Shout out to Joey Crack, Rhett, Chris, everybody in the chat. You guys keep things on fire. Yes, Rhett, the personal heel, as Demon likes to call him. I'm with it, man. I see you hating on my boy Josh Allen. I'm telling you, he's hoisting a Lombardi in his career. I'll bet.
But I mean, whose Lombardi is he going to be hoisting? It's not going to belong to the Bills. So who's going to lend it to him?
That's brutal.
Rhett is the main heel in the Interdimensional Demon Federation, which is what we call the chat when we do our live streams.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. People, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Fantasy Q&A show. Demon, you got anything you want to say to the people before we sign off?
Just join us every week. This weekend we're going to be going live. I'm going to be doing the 1 o'clock game, and 8 o'clock game, and then the Monday night game. Trying to do these Thursday night games. It's so tough for me. I haven't been able to get around to it, but that will come at some point. But I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for all the support. Kev, I love you too, man. Even though you're a Bills fan, I'll find a way to make it work.
It's family, bro. You got to do that with family sometimes. We're dysfunctional, but at the core, it's love, baby. Shout out to Anthony. You managed to chat like a pro. We missed the pale guy, aka Brian McFadden. I saw he was alive and well in the chat. Joey Crack, I believe, mentioned that he was probably off at home watching Sam Howell tape, and I think that you guys are probably right. This has been the Legit Football Fantasy Q&A show. Thanks for watching.